Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 2 of Homegrown Politics. Today I'm going to discuss Bill 21 in Quebec that is going to prohibit anyone that wears any kind of religious head covering or piece of clothing or jewelry unable to take a job with the provincial public service. And so that would include teachers, government workers, judges, and lawyers appearing in front of the court, among others. Or anyone working for the government at any level whatsoever. And I just think that the province of Quebec has invoked the notwithstanding clause, which is an override clause, which allows them to suspend certain rights under our charter and under our constitution in order to get done what they want to get done. Now, this is going to be only the third or fourth time in history where that notwithstanding clause has been evoked, and never around a human rights issue. This is the first time that it's going to be evoked around a human rights issue, as far as I understand it. If I'm wrong, please correct me. But here's the thing. We have a Charter of Rights and Freedoms to protect human rights. Once we start messing with people's human rights, everybody is potentially targeted. I understand that Quebec is a very unique society. It's the only province in the country that is French-speaking as a first language. It values its language rights and has its language rights, and it really is a very unique culture within the larger country. And everybody values it, and it's been designated as a distinct culture and society within Canada. I think that, it needs to respect its immigrants. It's Jews, it's Muslims, it's Sikhs, anyone who wears a head covering. And by the way, this would also capture Christians who wear crosses around their necks as a sign of devotion. And so everybody's targeted here, although I think it's going to particularly isolate visible minorities and Muslim women who cover their hair, or Sikhs, or Jews who cover their head. And that includes men and women. So, come on, Quebec. This is not cool. You need to let this one go. And may I also add that Canada is a colonial collection of people from all over the world. Why? Because most of us have had wars perpetrated against us, or our relatives and ancestors. I'm Jewish myself. My parents survived the Holocaust. I know what this is when people start criticizing what you wear, how you pray, who you are essentially as a human being, whether you're a good person or a bad person based on how you pray and what you believe and all that. It's not right, and it's dangerous. And Quebec has already had a very dark thing happen within its borders. There was a white supremacist who killed several people in a mosque 2 years ago. Everybody's still reeling from that. The families are suffering. It was a horrible, horrible thing to happen in Canada. And it's going to set people up to be targeted, to be bullied. It's going to, amongst the dark web, it's going to justify people's hate and ratchet it up, because after all, they're going to say, we have support from the Quebec government. So this is not good. It's dog whistle politics, and I'm very concerned. And I think that the school boards and anyone else, Canadian Labour Congress, anyone else that's already come forward and said that they are against this bill, should actually have a head covering day. Everybody, regardless of faith, should go to work wearing a head covering, and use it as a day of protest. I hope that works, because the alternative is it's going to have to go to the Supreme Court, and I hope the Supreme Court will ultimately find that the notwithstanding clause cannot override religious rights. And I'm quite familiar as an educator with human rights law. I worked in employment equity and human rights law for a long time. I still do. And usually when the Supreme Court makes a decision, they make the decision on the balance of rights. So everybody gets a nod. Every side gets a nod, and they try to balance everybody's rights in the whole picture. So I hope that that's what the Supreme Court does when it does reach the Supreme Court. But in the meantime, I'm all for a general strike. Go to work and cover your hair. Have a great Saturday night. Bye for now.